We are here with Jake from England, who just got in the top 8 with his Azalea deck at the Pro Tour in Baltimore. Congratulations, Jake.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, how do you feel right now?
Oh, it's amazing. I would never have expected that from me. I've only done a few rated events. I did two ProQuest before, and top 8. Came first in one of them. So I came here, and such a good result for a deck that no one really is playing. There's 20 of us who entered with Azalea, so I didn't expect. It was a bit daunting, really. Yeah.
So for how long do you play Flesh and Blood?
A year and a few months.
And you came in with Matthew Fawkes and the crew, or?
I didn't know Matt Fawkes before this. I came with Rob Catton, Matt Duggan, Lila, who's Rob's partner, James Thurgood, and Jacob Hand. Yeah, they're all really good players, and we were testing together. We didn't all end up on Azalea, but a few of us did.
So that is also basically your testing group?
Yeah, basically. And then we had sort of skirmish matches against people who were from England down south that also came.
So how did the first day of Pro Tour go for you?
Not very well. Constructed was 2-2, so I played against a dash on this deck, beat that dash. They were a very control-y version. Then I played against Alexi, and I made a bit of a misplay, and we shortcutted to damage when I really wanted to play Snapdragon Scalers. Instead of going to reactions, they said take the damage, and I said okay, and without thinking. So I think I lost the game based on that alone. And the second game was a Dromai, which is a really bad matchup. There's two bad matchups, Oldham and Dromai, so that was a loss. And the fourth game was Katsu, and that should be favoured for Azalea, and I did win that. And then I went 3-0 in the draft on Azuri, so that was promising.
And the second day, how did that went for you?
The second day we started with draft, and I went 3-0 on Azuri again, which I just seem to like forcing Azuri, and it just seems to go well. So I always tend to do that. I've done Ninja a few times, but it's not quite as easy, and it's not as powerful, I feel like. Then the CC portion, there was 4 games that day, and there was 3 Lexis, and I beat all the Lexis, and there was one Dromai, which was Mara Faris, and she won, and it was close. It was 1-1, so it could have gone worse. Right, and the final game was against Shamir on Lexi, and he's a really good player on, well, anything real, but that Lexi game was very, very hard. I had to pull out all the stops to beat him. It was good.
And then today you had your top 8 game and lost that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, top 8 was against Michael Feng's Oldham, and I knew as soon as the results were announced yesterday that I'd made top 8, and we could work out who I was against and what he was playing, so we knew it was Oldham, so I tried my best. I tried to get enough rest and just went to sleep. I didn't practice too much against Oldham last night because I thought I've practiced against it, and it's also Michael Feng. I didn't have the expectation of doing super well against Oldham. It's the worst matchup you can possibly have on Azalea, so it went about as well as I could have hoped. Yeah. I don't think I'd do any major misplays. I haven't caught any, so that's all you can ask for.
So I know you have your flight in actually a few minutes. You need to go, so let's jump quickly into your deck list.
Yeah, sure.
And see what cards you picked.
Yes, so Azalea is the hero. Death Dealer is the bow, and it's an insane weapon. One resource for a card is just insane because you're going to pitch a yellow or a blue to fire the arrow anyway, so you might as well draw a card on top of that. I've not really tried the alternatives of Sandscar or Dreadbore or something like that. Tunic is very, very good in Azalea because she works off such a small amount of resources anyway, so often you can load a 0-cost arrow with Tunic It fixes all red hands. Just no replacement for this really, in constructed anyway. Cross wrap, yeah, it's really strong for Azalea. She wants to be looking at the top. You want to be arsenaling something at the end of your turn, opting for free, basically turning anything that you put into your arsenal into a free opt, and then you can choose something from the top if it's better, change it, or you can choose what to draw into if you're going to play from your arsenal and then Death Dealer and draw. No replacement for this in this style of Ranger anyway. Perch grapplers are for blocking. They're only used in Katsu and Bravo and Dorinthia matchups. I used them once this whole weekend, but I think I actually paid for the effect as well, so I turned them into a bad Snapdragons that you have to pay 2 for, but the main purpose is just to block against Katsu. You can break up a mass trigger line. Snapdragons are the main boots brought into most matchups. You just want to be able to fix a hand with 2 arrows in, or go 3 arrow wide, something like that. You can go blow to Death Dealer, shoot, give it go again, Codex, and that loads another arrow, and then you can make Rain Razors get you 4 damage or 6 damage, or do something that the opponent doesn't expect. You can take a card out of the hand so they can't, with Codex, so that they can't block properly. Crow's Nest, just no other choice really. You don't really want the other quivers. I mean, you'd run Rustling Leaves if you didn't have this, but a free aim counter, well not free, but it's 1 slot, sometimes gives you an extra damage, sometimes makes Deadeye into Surgical Extraction with Dominate, which is pretty good. So, yeah, pretty good. And then Bullseyes is also a combo piece. Sometimes you'll load a Bolton shot and send that for 7 or something like that, and then they'll block it out, expecting you to not have anything else to do after that. But then you can use this to load another arrow and shoot and continue your turn. So just once per game, deal 6-7 damage, maybe more.
So
also,
let's come to your main deck, or do you have any additions to your equipment?
I was just going to say it's got Arcane Barrier, so yeah. That and Cross Wrap, you've got Arcane Barrier 2 naturally. So the main deck. 3 laced with Frailty, 3 laced with Inertia, and 3 laced with Bloodrot, which is the best one. Just very powerful buffs, generically good. This one's not as generically good, but you know, it helps you in Katsu matchups when you Codex and things like that. Inertia is just another Seek and Destroy effect that you want. Very good into Oldhim because you want to remove the ability to use Crown of Seeds on you the following turn. And this, if this hits, is just a 0 for 5. They can block 2 of it with a blue, but that's quite a bad rate. Seek and Destroy is slightly better than Inertia because it actually destroys the card instead of putting it to the bottom, but you're not going to see fatigue, and you'll be the one fatiguing, not them. Doesn't really matter. Premeditate is absolutely busted because it allows you always want an arsenal at your turn. Premeditate allows you to use your entire hand, fire at them. If you deal even 1 damage with an attack while this is live, you draw a card at the end of your turn. Ponder. Read the Glide Path makes your deck more consistent, allows you to you can either use this before you draw with the Death Dealer and choose a better card to draw, or you can load with Death Dealer or something like that, have an arrow, see the top and then see an arrow and dominate, or if you have to blind Azalea, you can cycle through a few cards and then dominate, hopefully. Release Tension is quite niche, it just stops defense reactions from Arsenal, but good in the controlling matchups. Deadeye, you don't always actually play this, you block with it or you pitch it, but it's also a buff. If you have extra resources, you can keep that and play it. It's also got aim counter synergy, so it's probably the best aim counter synergy in the deck actually. It removes the card, so if you can dominate an arrow with this effect and then choose a card from their hand and maybe ruin their whole turn as well. Melting Point, it's also got aim counter synergy, but it rarely comes into play. The main reason it's here is because it's a red 1 cost 4, which is on rate, and then if you block with it, it's on rate, so it just makes your hands flexible. If you've got extra resources, you can cast it. If they don't do anything that you want to block, you can cast it. Infecting Shot, 1 for 7 arrow essentially. One of the best arrows in the deck. Just a lot of damage, lets you raise aggro. Sedation Shot is mainly in here because of Oldhim. You just want to take them for Crown Seeds again, just make sure they can't stick in Arsenal. It doesn't work all the time because Oldhim can just block so much whenever he wants, so we've actually got to land to give the inertia, but that's what it's there for really. Remorseless is good against all decks really because it has a defense reaction text. If you load it face up, they can't block with the defense reaction from Arsenal. Against go wide decks, they take 1 life damage every time they play an action card. So if you get hit by this and your Azalea, all of your buffs actually cost you 1 life as well, and then your arrow costs you 1 life. A lot of damage. Ravenous Rabble is there because it lets you top, and you can. It's pretty much a buff. Besides go again, it costs 0. It's pretty much a 4 damage buff in this deck because you can make sure a red's on top most of the time. And then sometimes you just get a dominate for free when you use this, see an arrow on top, and then swap your arsenal. Drill Shot is 0 cost, 4 damage, and also hurts a piece of armor, so very good against Oldhim. The plan against Oldhim is basically dominate one of these and hope that they can't block it. Hit the Rampart, and then that makes the whole deck a lot worse for blocking because they want to be using Crown Seeds and Rampart on the same turn with a blue. They can't do that if the Rampart is damaged. Lion Strike is mostly 3 block. It's also makes your hand flexible. If you've got all red hand or you've got 2 arrows in hand that you don't want both of them, you can use this to get rid of one and deal 5 damage with it. It's not as efficient as if you had 2 cards that had 3 damage, but it is flexible. Bowler Trap is a one-of. It's just a tech card, so if Oldhim doesn't know this is in your hand or arsenal, then you can. If he swings a hammer at you, Titan's Fist, and it's buffed to 4, it has 1 extra than it has base, and then you can hit the Rampart and they can't do anything about that. So just a freebie against Oldhim sometimes. That's it, and it's a yellow. Battering Bolt is in here because of the popper. It's the only 6 power arrow, so it's a popper that you can buff up and cast and load with Death Dealer, which makes all the other poppers look worse in comparison because they don't have any synergy with your deck. You don't often want to fire this, but I do play this into Oldhim. I play the entire deck into Oldhim because you just want every single card, hopefully, to find the damage that you need. Red in the Ledger is the best arrow in the deck. I mean, it stops other rangers, it stops aggro decks, anything that wants to go wide, anything that wants to do more than one thing in a turn, even Bravo, because Bravo wants to dominate and then swing and attack, and he can't dominate if this hits. So that's one of the best arrows. Rain Razors is in here because of the combo with Bolton Shots and Codex. So basically, a nice thing you can do is have a Bolton Shot in your arsenal, shoot it and Rain Razors to give it +2. Then you can load another arrow, that's got +2. If that has go again or you use Snapdragons, then you can Codex you basically got 6 damage out of rain razors every time you fire an arrow that turn. So that's what this combo is for. I mean, it's yellow as well, so you want to be seeing the second cycle. It pitches itself first cycle really well, and then second cycle it lines up with your yellow and blue Bolton shots because they've pitched themselves. Next is Codex of Frailty. One of the best cards in Flesh and Blood. I think everyone knows that by now. What can you say? Basically, it's always a 0 for 4 from your graveyard, 1 for 5 red in the ledger if you have a tunic counter or an infecting shot, whatever you need. Intimidates a card out of their hand, so you can line it up so that they have to discard a card and they can't block what comes next. And then it gives you a ponder, replaces itself, basically just insane tempo.
So for Codex of Frailty, do you think it needs to be banned soon?
It is a bit worrying because it's so good in Lexi as well, and Lexi's doing better than Azalea is right now. Both Rangers really abuse it, so I think it probably would need a ban at some point. I don't know if it needs a ban soon. I think Azalea probably needs a card or two in another set before you can ban it and be happy that she's in a good place, because judging from this competition, I think Lexi's probably the better Ranger right now. So maybe you ban something from Lexi now and then ban Codex down the line and give Azalea something.
So coming to the last cards.
Yeah, the last 6 cards. So we have 9 blues in the deck. Spire Sniping is just a blue arrow, blocks 3, and because you can see the top 2 cards when you load it with Death Dealer, or you flip it with Cross Wrap, you can basically turn it into a red arrow or something else that you want. It's a good card to arsenal into your turn. That's basically it. It's a blue that's not a blue sometimes. And then knock the Death Whistle, basically find the best arrow for the situation, put it on top. It's a blue block 3. There's no reason why you wouldn't play it based on that alone. And then sometimes you just want to find red in the ledger as much as possible to shut down aggro and stop them from killing you before you can kill them.
Alright. Yeah, thank you so much for showing us this deck. Do you have some last words for us? Will you continue playing Flesh and Blood?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love this game. I lost the top 8 and then immediately went to play another Shapeshifter Seal casual event, so that was fun. Yeah, I just wanted to play more and more, so before we go home. Yeah.
Amazing, yeah. Again, congratulations, thank you so much for the interview, and if you want to, you can shout out someone at the end.
Shout out to the whole team, so Rob, Lila, Matt, James, Jacob, all the UK guys who tested with as well, all the UK guys who I spoke to this weekend, really nice as well. My friends and family supportive, super pumped that I made top 8. They don't all understand what it means, but it's very cool to see what people are saying at home. Yeah.
And cheers to Rob for introducing us.
Yeah,
and see you next time.
See you.